Hello, welcome back. Checkered Shorts, episode number 60. Post race coming to you, post race Arlington. Before we hop into the race, let's get a history lesson from Professor Dinwiddie.
Yeah, we're gonna change it up a little bit this week, and instead of talking history, when I thought of number 60, I thought of Meyer Shank Racing and Mike Shank, but a little bit of history about him, which I didn't know until I did a little research here, is that Mike Shank actually was an IRL driver for one race back in, I believe it was '97. He raced in the Vegas 500. Didn't do very well, and I think he kind of got the idea that, hey, I probably might be better as an owner than as a driver, and so he started his own race team and has done some sports car stuff. He was a really good sports car driver, and then owner. He actually Sam Hornish ran for him in the Florida Atlantic and won the championship back in '99 before he got into IRL. So played a role there. And then since he's been in IRL in the IndyCar series, just really impressed. When I think of him, I think of guys like Zach Brown that bring a positive energy and excitement into the sport. And I think that's what Mike does. He brings great sponsors. We've seen the stuff he's done with Sirius XM. I know Jim Myers, his partner, who's the owner of that. But just Mike Shank and what he's done for the sport. He just has. Obviously he's got one IndyCar victory, the 21 500, which was Alien fourth, which was a pretty big one. But he's had some great guys run for him: Jack Harvey, Simon Pagenaud. He's got Armstrong and Rosenquist now. We love Rosie or Fro or whatever you call him. So, yeah. But it just has really good guys. Got a good partnership now with Chip, and glad to see they're really moving up in the IndyCar world.
Yeah, he's an advocate of the sport. He's passionate about the sport, not like a Juncos. You don't hear him, you don't see him on the paddock, rubbing elbows and shaking hands, kissing babies, if you will. But Shank definitely does that. So he's tremendous for the sport. I totally agree.
Yep.
And he's got two good drivers. Armstrong is just unfortunately probably going to go to one of the bigger teams here in the next couple of years. But and Fro, I mean, we can talk about him later. But yeah, no, I think they're doing the right things for sure.
I think that's a good transition into the race because number 60 had him a good day. Obviously, he was in the mix all the way through the race and ran a good, clean race. The thing that I thought leading up to the race, watching the practices, watching the media, is the positive nature that all the racers took to the event. And after a while, you heard it so many times that it was almost like they were selling the fact that we need more cities, we need more sponsors to step up in this kind of way. I don't think it was necessarily the track specific, but it was more the Jerry Jones power money that comes in and is going to have an upscale event. It's going to made for TV, look good.
I'm sure they're all coached to, and I don't think they're lying necessarily, but hey, build this up. Hey, you love this. The track was super fast, and every single one of them did say, "No, this is awesome. This is fun. Yeah, it's bumpy, but that's a road course for you." So there wasn't any downgrading of the event. So I thought that was really positive too.
No, I thought the crowd looked great. I thought, the track had everything, right? From the horseshoe to the almost mile long straight. They were in the mid 190s today down that backstretch. That's pretty awesome for a street course. I mean, it's the only, other than Indy, that's the only time you're ever going to get that fast. So that was really cool. Just some really good racing. It was wide. There were passing areas. The double pit lane worked out really well as well. I love the fact, we kind of talked about it before we came on, like being able to compare when two drivers went in. If they were on each side of it, you had an overhead, like a drone view of those two matching up and coming out. The merge coming out of there was cool too, where our drivers would come in side by side. So I think the whole setup was just really good. I think the racing overall could have been better today. But overall, I would say it's a 7 or 8 out of 10. I was impressed again with the performance of the race.
Yep. I saw this on social media, and I guess I didn't know are they not coming back? Is this a one and done, or do they know? I figured they would come back, but
yeah, I haven't heard either way. I don't think it's a one and done per se. Right. I think they wanted to see how it went.
Sure.
They use the parking lot, so it's not like they're, I know they get out onto some streets, but
sure.
I don't think it interrupts traffic in the Arlington area a lot. So I don't think it's something they couldn't replicate pretty easily.
Hopefully they have it again. I mean, it's a good event. And we need that race. So no, it's good. What you guys takeaways? Who's the good? Who's the bad for this?
I mean, obviously, I think you have to start with Kirkwood, what he was able to do today. And I know we'll get to disappointments and other things later, but he was great all weekend, other than one little mistake in qualifying. He dominated the weekend and showing why he won at every level coming up through the IndyCar ladder. We talk about Rasmussen, we talk about Foster, but Kyle was really the first one that did that. And I think he's finally starting to come into his own. Obviously he's gone to the points lead now, so we'll see how long, and if he can hold on to that, I believe he has the potential to really dominate the series this year.
I think he's consistent. He's not going to win every race, just like Pelot's not going to win every race, you don't think, but he flexed his muscles on Pelot today. I don't know if he's ever been passed for the lead. Honestly, I'm sure he has, but if you think about it, it's not very many times. And I think he did it at the right time, because I think it maybe threw Pelot off a little bit. He did the double take, thought about it, and then he's like, oh crap, well, I got to go. So, so it was definitely cool to see him. Keith, what do you think?
I mean, I was impressed by the racing, just enthralled by watching it. You kept hoping for something that would bunch him up again.
Yeah.
And you had that one caution, and you thought at least it was going to come down to a one-lap showdown. And then you got Mr. Irrelevant, not even mention the entire broadcast, Nolan Siegel, screws up a really potential fun ending to a race.
Yeah.
By just plowing right through Grosjean.
Which he had no business doing, because what is he going to make? An extra $10 by doing that? Just stay out of the way. Just cruise to the finish line and let the leaders fight it out.
I thought Ericsson had a dynamite. That was my grid rival pick of the week, if you remember correctly. Honda just smashed Chevy. I mean, that was a pretty dominant effort on Honda's part, and that's typical, but it seemed a little bit more in the open than it has in the past. Who else I'm looking up?
You didn't get to see much of it, but Scotty Mack, considering he was forced to start at the back of the field, passed a lot of cars. And on a track like that, it's a challenge all by itself. But he definitely made up a lot of ground and points for himself, considering how qualifications went. So that was an impressive drive, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those were on track and how many of those, I know he did the overcut on that first run. And so I think a lot of the guys dove into the pits and he moved up that way. And I think he gained a lot of track position. But I do think he made some on pass. I was really hopeful, because I had him on my grid rival squad this week, that he was going to pass, a few there in those last 10 laps, and he wasn't able to get around them. But overall, you're right. Going from 25th to what he finished 11th, 11th. That's a good day. I mean, it's one of those that we've talked about him being a favorite or a contender for the championship. That could be the day that helps him do that.
Yeah.
So what about some guys that you kind of expected more out of?
I'm looking. Renus did not do.
I was going to say Renus, and mainly because I want to be a Renus cheerleader.
Yeah.
We were talking about last year. He's the hottest commodity out there, and that he's an excellent driver. Just needs to be with the right team.
Yes.
I don't know how much of a step up the change of team was for him, but he's not performing to last year's standard.
No, I agree. I think names that stand out is Graham. I I watched the whole race. I don't know how many of these guys got mentioned. Graham, Santino got mentioned, but he's just crap in the bed. Were the two, and then Renus. I know why Joseph was down there. I know why Felix was down there. Those were the two other than Renus that kind of just met him hauling around.
Yeah. I'll throw out Del Coyne this weekend because they were so strong at St. Pete. So I thought, hey, they figured this street course thing out, and they weren't there in practice or quals. And then so I was like, okay, well, they're starting in the back, they'll move up, and they just didn't. They stayed back there pretty much all day and kind of got off sequence, and that was another group. But you mentioned, I know both of you kind of mentioned him by this point. That's Rosenquist. Keith, I agree with you. He had a really strong race. And then at the end, I went to look like where he finished, and he finished 20th.
20th,
That stinks.
I think he got penalized at that last restart
because he passed
too early.
Because he was in like the 6th spot. He was trying to move up to the 5 spot.
But I don't know why that would put you back to 20th. But
you get a drive-through. I guess he got a drive-through for that, maybe?
Maybe. I guess that's probably right. Yeah, you're right. So I think people who salvaged today was Lundgaard did pretty well. Dixon, I couldn't figure out how Dixon was going to play out. I was just waiting for him to like one lap be in the lead. And I think that was probably their strategy, was waiting for the right caution to fall. Still finished 8th out of starting 20th. I think that's a pretty darn good day. I think that was just their strategy. Hey, I think if we do this, we can at least get a top 10.
I thought it was an impressive day for Cal Collette.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good one. Good call.
That's probably the biggest winner of the day, honestly. Yeah, looking at it now.
I'll throw Marcus Ericsson. We spent all year last year dogging that guy. This was make or break for him. And, I know there was an article yesterday. This is the guy that sat on the pole, the new engineer, and this little connection has worked out really well. And he was really strong today. I thought when he fell back at the beginning, I thought, oh, here we go again. But he stayed right up there. And even with a problem on pit road, comes in home with a 4th place finish.
Yep.
Speaking of problems on pit road, we got our shit pit of the week, right?
Man. Yeah.
So you just want to spin a wheel, put all the Andretti's on there, and see where it lands?
I had 3 nominees, and it was Ericsson, Power, and Kirkwood. So
yeah, they all. I'm just going to declare the shit pit of the week. Kelly Landscape is Ericsson. He came in just ahead of Pelot, and you still think Pelot's probably going to beat him. I mean, Pelot's teams does not make a mistake, and they didn't. But you got to be on your A game when you're coming into the pits as the leader with the defending champ on your butt. You got to shine. That would have been, and it didn't help that the camera was right on that guy that dropped the nut. So that's my nomination and winner of the week. So
there was a lot of real entertaining action happening in the pits.
Yeah.
That tire getting thrown because Griffin Simpson bumped it, which I didn't catch on the first replay. Yeah. He bumps it into Dixon. Dixon throws it into his tire changer.
Yeah.
Who does a good job of getting it out of his way.
One, avoiding it, and then 2, knocking it back toward.
Yeah, like kind of setting it to the side. That was pretty nice. Yeah.
And then when that one lug got shot out of the tire.
Yeah.
If that had hit somebody, I think it might have taken their dang leg off.
Yeah. Not a good day for Andretti. I think that'll be topic A number 1. They could have finished 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. We say that, but they win the award and had a horrible day in the pits, but how good are their 3 drivers to take those engineer to set those cars up? But they finished 1, 3, 4 in the race with all the problems they had on pit road.
No, you're right. But I think you win and lose on the pit road. And I think, I don't know how, who knows how it would have played out. But they'll be having a team meeting, I think, tomorrow morning. I would assume.
One more guy I'll throw out there just for you is Alex Rossi. Another solid top 10.
Yeah.
He's putting himself back in that conversation this year of being a top 10 driver.
And I think He's probably the worst Chevy driver that finished, if that makes sense, out of the top 10. So it makes sense. If he had a Honda, I think he probably would have been up there just because of the setups. You had Christian, where did he start? He had a hell of a run, I think. And then Malukas actually finished 6th. So not just on Rossi, but yeah, for being a Chevy, a little lesser of a car, it seemed on this street course, it's a good top 10 for him.
Yep.
And they kept talking about Pato and his ability to restrain himself, but I don't think on this situation he had to restrain himself. Like you said, talking about the Chevy, the Honda advantage, to finish 5th and have a relatively good weekend. I think he was 3rd in the qualifications.
Yep,
that's a pretty good weekend for them.
You could hear it in his voice. He was pretty frustrated. He was like, "Man, we just got dominated." He's like, "There's no change." He's like, "We have to get better as a team to be able to compete on this stuff." And he's like, "We're good. Like, we're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, nobody was touching Andretti this weekend."
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting in his interview. He talked about being 3rd in the points, and he talked about how close he was to Palou. Didn't even mention that Kirkwood was in the lead. It's almost like everyone is just so focused on Palou and not the position.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it could be the fact that Kirkwood started off both the last 2 seasons really strong and then faded.
That's true.
So that may not be even in their mind right now. The one thing I was going to say is I kind of expected Chevy to have an advantage here because of that long straightaway. And normally when we talk about engine power, that's where they shine, that horsepower. And so I thought this would be an advantage for them. I thought they would pick up lots of spots on that backstretch. But you're right, Honda really dominated the day.
So we'll move into grid rivals because we had some movers for sure, and both in the wrong direction and in the right direction. Unfortunately for myself, I was on a downward trend.
As was I.
Let me pull it up. If you got it pulled up.
I've got it. I did have it. Hold on.
Milkaduno. It's Kyle Gaddis, a good friend of mine, pulled up to win the race and is number 1 in the standings now. So good job. Dime Life 27. Scott Wire, another good friend of mine, actually used to go to Bristol down there. He finished 2nd, and then Tink and Tonic, who finished 1st last week, was 3rd today, finished on the podium.
Back-to-back podiums for Tink and Tonic, so well done.
So that was today. Milkaduno 1st overall. Mr. Dinwiddie is 2nd. Scott Wire, Dime Life is 3rd, and I stayed at the same spot. I came in at 4th this week. So in the top 5, and Tink and Tonic is the 5th. So
So we might need to start asking our viewers for tips instead of us giving tips.
Yeah, right. 100%. Trying to think. Milkaduno had Dixon, Palou, Erickson, VK, Kirkwood, and Schumacher. Seems like it shouldn't have enough money to do that, but I guess you do. So now we have a week off, right?
We do have a week off. Yep. Head to Barber next. All right.
Yep.
So in between these episodes where we don't have a pre-race, we'll come back with some episodes that are more topical in nature, and we'll probably start talking a little bit about the Indy 500. So you can look forward to that. We're all excited. Obviously, as we enter the month of April, we are just 1 month away from Speedway Indiana owning the series for a month. So
that's right. One more thing, the Fox broadcast, man, those, I'm not the one to complain and bitch about a lot of commercials, but man, that seemed like a lot. And the pylon on the left wasn't there at the start. Like, it's all just something to talk about on the podcast more than anything. But
and why were they not doing split screen commercials when it really mattered? It got under 20 laps and they went away to like 3.5 minutes worth of commercials.
Right.
Yeah. The first 3 sets of commercials, I think, came in the first 20 minutes of the race, and they had side-by-side racing. And you're right. Like, then when it got down to the end, they went away. And, yeah, that's just – I wasn't impressed today with the telecast again, the broadcast. So hopefully they figure some things out and gets better as the season goes on.
I mean, I think when I watch Jeopardy, you have 2 commercials, right, for a half-hour episode. Like, I think that should be all that's allowed. Again, it's me just nitpicking more than it is anything. But I did download the Fox One app to see if it stayed live, because a lot of times some of those will, and then I forgot to watch it, so I don't know. So stay tuned. If you got any other tips out there, let me know. But no, I was a little bit disappointed, but again, me being piggy.
Well, I think that wraps it up for episode 60 for us. Another good episode, another good race.
60, good job, boys.
Yeah, we've done something. Look at us.
All right. Stick with us, and more to come. We'll talk about Barber here next week and all that.
All right. Catch you later.
All right. See you, everybody.